The Shunned House Novel PDF by Howard Phillips Lovecraft. A New Dawn in Providence. In the year of our Lord 1676, the morning sun cast a golden hue over the bustling streets of Providence, a town still young but vibrant with the spirit of enterprise. William Harris, once a man of the sea, now turned land dweller, surveyed the land that was to be his family's new beginning. The air was crisp, filled with the promise of a fresh start, and the distant sound of church bells mingled with the cries of seagulls, heralding the dawn of a new day. "Father, will we build our house here?" Young Welcome asked, his eyes wide with curiosity as he clutched his father's hand. "Aye, son," William replied, his voice carrying the weight of his dreams. "This will be our homestead, our anchor. We'll build it strong and proud, just like the ships I've sailed." The land was untamed, but to William's eyes it was ripe with potential. He envisioned a home not just for his family, but a legacy that would stand the test of time. As he shared his vision with his wife, Sarah, her face lit up with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. "But what are the rumors, William? They say this land was once a graveyard," Sarah whispered, a hint of fear in her voice. William chuckled softly, squeezing her hand reassuringly. "Superstitions, my love. We'll build our future here, not dwell on the past. Our home will be a place of joy and laughter, where our children can grow and thrive." As the days passed, the foundation of the Harris homestead took shape. The walls rose steadily, crafted from the finest brick and wood that William's modest earnings could afford. The house was a testament to his determination, a symbol of his transition from the unpredictability of the ocean to the stability of the earth. One day, as William toiled in the yard, a group of neighbors approached, their faces etched with friendly curiosity. "Need a hand with that, Harris?" called out a burly man with a wide grin. "We're mighty pleased to have new folk settling in. Providence grows stronger with each sturdy house." Their laughter and chatter filled the air as they lent their hands, weaving the Harris family into the fabric of the community. Yet, as the house neared completion, strange occurrences began to unsettle the family. A chill seemed to linger in the rooms, even on warm days, and shadows danced in the corners of their eyes, fleeting and uncatchable. At night, the wind howled through the eaves, carrying whispers of the land's history, sowing seeds of unease. Objects were found misplaced, and the soft patter of unseen feet echoed in the hallways, leaving the family to huddle closer in their beds. One evening, as William and Sarah sat by the fireplace, the flames casting a warm glow on their faces, they spoke of the future. Sarah's hands trembled slightly as she spoke. "Do you think we made the right choice, William?" William took her hand, his gaze steady and sure. "I do. This house, our home, it's the start of a new dawn for the Harris family. Whatever challenges we may face, we'll overcome them together. Our roots will grow deep here, and our children's laughter will chase away any shadows." And with that, the Harris family embraced their new life in Providence, unaware of the shadows that lurked within their walls, waiting for the night to fall. The story of a new dawn in Providence had just begun, woven into the very fabric of the town, a tale of hope and perseverance amidst the whispers of the past. Whispers of misfortune. In the quaint town of Providence, the Harris family's new homestead was once a beacon of hope. But as autumn leaves began to fall, so too did the family's spirits. The children, Abigail and Ruth, succumbed to a mysterious fever. Dr. Job Ives, with his furrowed brow, could only offer solemn nods as he stood by their small beds, his remedies proving futile. The house, once filled with laughter, now echoed with whispers of misfortune. Eli Lidieson, a loyal servant, confided in William Harris one chilly evening. "Master Harris," Eli began, his voice barely above a whisper, "there's a sickness in these walls. It's as if the very air we breathe is tainted." William, a man of logic, dismissed these fears with a wave of his hand. "Nonsense, Eli. It's just a bout of illness. It will pass." Within a fortnight, the illness spread like a shadow, touching everyone within the house. Hannibal, a kind-hearted servant, was next to fall ill. Her once rosy cheeks turned pale, and her strength waned until she could no longer rise from her bed. Mercy Dexter, William's sister-in-law, kept a watchful eye over the household. When Ann White, the cook, whispered of ancient maladies and dark omens, Mercy's response was swift. "Enough of your foolishness, Anne," Mercy scolded. "We are a house of reason. You are dismissed." Anne left with trepidation, her eyes wide with fear. "You'll see, Mrs. Dexter. There's more to this sickness than meets the eye." The family tried to carry on, but the house seemed to have a will of its own. Roby Harris, William's wife, began to show signs of mental strain, wandering the halls at night, murmuring to unseen visitors. One evening, as William sat by the fire, Roby approached him with a vacant look. "They're here, William," she whispered. "The night visitors. They come with the moon." William, a man of science, felt a chill run down his spine. He took his wife's hands in his. "Roby, my love, there are no such things as night visitors. You must rest." But rest provided no respite. The house continued to claim its victims, each one falling into a state of decline that no medicine could cure. The once proud Harris homestead had become a place of sorrow, its walls whispering of misfortune that no one could escape. As the town's whispers grew louder, a figure emerged from the mist, a healer known as Madame Leclerc. She arrived at the Harris doorstep with herbs and ancient tomes, claiming knowledge of the affliction that plagued the house. With a steely gaze, she crossed the threshold, determined to confront the unseen malady that held the Harris family in its grasp. The House of Sorrow. The once cheerful Harris homestead had become a place of whispers and shadows, its bright future dimmed by a series of unexplained tragedy. The house, now known as the House of Sorrow, stood as a testament to the family's misfortune. One gloomy evening, Mercy Dexter sat in the parlor, her face etched with worry. Her nephew, William Jr., lay in bed upstairs, his once robust health now frail and fading. The servants spoke in hushed tones, their words laced with fear and superstition. "Miss Mercy, the townsfolk are talking again," said Ann White as she entered the room. "They say the house is cursed, that it's the work of something unnatural." Mercy sighed, her hands trembling slightly. "We cannot let such foolish talk affect us, Anne. It's just illness, nothing more." Mercy stood up, her resolve firming. "Show me," she demanded. Together they descended into the cellar, the air growing colder with each step. The dim light revealed the cloudy whitish pattern on the dirt floor, and for a moment it seemed to move, to double up like a human figure. Mercy caught her breath. "It's just the dampness playing tricks on us," she said, though her voice lacked conviction. Mercy shook her head. "We mustn't give in to such stories. We'll find a rational explanation for all of this." But as the days passed, the House of Sorrow only deepened. William Jr.'s health continued to decline, and the servants began to leave, one by one, driven away by fear. The brick walls of the house seemed to weep with roomy tears. For now the house remained shrouded in mystery, its sorrow a heavy cloak that draped over the family in the town of Providence. The story of the Harris family's misfortunes was far from over, and the House of Sorrow would stand as a dark monument to their legacy, at least for a little while longer. The decision to leave. The air was thick with the scent of mildew and sorrow as William Harris stood in the dimly lit parlor. Walls, once bright with the laughter of children, now echoed with a silence that was almost tangible. He glanced at the portrait of his beloved wife, Roby, whose eyes seemed to follow him with a mixture of sadness and reproach. "Father, must we leave?" Young Dute's voice broke the silence, his eyes wide with a mix of fear and anticipation. William turned to his son, the weight of his decision heavy on his shoulders. "Yes, my boy. This house. It has taken too much from us. Your mother, your siblings, and poor Aunt Mercy, your father's sister," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "But where will we go?" Dude asked, clutching a small wooden horse, the last remnant of happier times. "To a new place," William replied with a determined nod. "We will build a new home, one free from the shadows that have plagued us here." Dude looked around, the memories of his family haunting every corner. And what of the stories, the whispers of curses? "We will leave them behind as well," William said, placing a reassuring hand on his son's shoulder. "Let the townsfolk chatter. We know the truth of this place, and that is enough." Pausing at the threshold, William allowed himself a moment to reflect on the gravity of their departure. This was more than a mere change of residence. It was a step towards healing, a chance to escape the grip of grief that had held them for so long. As they stepped out, the door closing with a final thud, the Harris family left behind the sorrow that had enveloped them. The new dawn awaited them, promising a future unmarred by the darkness of the past. And though the old house would stand as a testament to their trials, the Harris name would be remembered not for the tragedies that befell them, but for the courage to seek a brighter tomorrow. A few of the townsfolk gathered outside, their expressions a mix of curiosity and concern. "We wish you well, Harris," one of them called out, a sentiment echoed by nods and murmurs from the others. William nodded in acknowledgement, a silent thank you for their years of shared history, however fraught with whispers and rumors it may have been. The family's carriage rolled away, leaving behind the old life and moving towards the new. Dismissal and despair. The morning sun struggled through the thick fog that shrouded the Harris homestead, its light doing little to lift the gloom that had settled over the once cheerful house. Mercy Dexter's face, stern and resolute, mirrored the gravity of her family's plight. As the days passed, the Harris family grappled with their decision to leave the homestead. Mercy, ever the steadfast guardian of her kin, tended to her sister Roby, whose health continued to decline. Young William's vitality seemed to wane with each passing day, his once vibrant eyes dimming. Despite the challenges, Mercy remained determined to protect her family. She worked tirelessly to maintain a semblance of normalcy, even as the house seemed to resist her efforts. Yet she never wavered in her resolve, her strength a beacon for her family in these trying times. The Harris family story was one of resilience in the face of adversity. Their home a testament to their enduring spirit. Mercy, the unwavering matriarch, faced each day with courage, ready to lead her family toward a brighter future beyond the confines of their ancestral walls. The malevolent influence. Mercy Dexter, with her son William and their new companion, a stray dog they had named Keeper, stood at the threshold of their new home, far from the cursed Harris homestead. The air was filled with the scent of pine and the promise of a fresh start. "We won't need to go down to any cellars here, Will," Mercy said, her voice steady and sure. "This land is ours, free from the shadows of the past." William, his eyes bright with the vigor of health, nodded. "And we have Keeper to warn us of any trouble," he added, patting the dog's head. As they began to unpack, Mercy noticed an old, weathered book among their belongings, one she did not remember packing. Curious, she opened it to find a map of the area with a peculiar marking not far from their new property. "Look, Will," she said, pointing to the symbol. "This could be an old well or perhaps something more. What do you say we explore it tomorrow?" William's eyes sparkled with the prospect of adventure. "Let's do it, Mother. Maybe we'll find something to help the town, or a clue to the mysteries we left behind." That night, as they settled in, a sense of peace enveloped the family. They had faced the darkness and emerged into the light, ready to forge a path forward, together with Keeper by their side, and the unknown treasures of the land awaiting them. The Harris homestead was behind them, but its lessons would forever guide their steps. The turning point. The air was thick with the scent of old wood and whispers of the past as Mercy Dexter paced the dimly lit hallway. Her footsteps echoed, a stark reminder of the emptiness that had befallen the once lively house. She stopped at the door of her nephew William's room, her hand hesitating on the knob. With a deep breath, she pushed the door open. "William? It's time to wake up," Mercy called softly, stepping into the room. The curtains were drawn and the morning light struggled to pierce the gloom. There was no response. She approached the bed, her heart pounding with a dread she couldn't shake. "William," she repeated, reaching out to gently shake the boy's shoulder. He lay still, too still, and a cold realization washed over her. Tears welled in her eyes as she understood that the malevolent force had claimed her beloved nephew during the night. Mercy stood alone in the silence of the house, the weight of her loss bearing down on her. She knew what she had to do. With a heavy heart, she made her way out of the homestead, leaving behind the sorrowful walls and the memories they contained. The house, with its dark legacy, was now a thing of the past, and Mercy, with her resolve, stepped into the daylight, ready to embrace a new beginning. Breaking the cycle. The night was still, the silence of Providence broken only by the creak of the door as Jonathan Harris, the last of his line, entered the ancestral home that had cast a shadow over his family. His uncle, Elihu Harris, a scholar of the esoteric, accompanied him. His presence a testament to the family's long struggle with the house's dark influence. "Jonathan, are we prepared for this?" Elihu inquired, his scholarly facade momentarily slipping. With resolve, Jonathan replied, "Tonight it ends. This curse will not claim another Harris." They moved through the house, each step a defiance of the dread that had lingered for generations. In the cellar, where whispers of the past echoed, they stood firm, Elihu's hand resting on an old tome, the culmination of their family's knowledge. Time passed, marked by the subtle change in the air. Jonathan's attention was drawn to a corner where darkness gathered, a visual whisper of the house's secrets. "Uncle there," he murmured. Elihu, understanding, nodded. "We stand united," he affirmed. A coldness enveloped them, a presence felt rather than seen, the culmination of the house's sorrowful legacy. Jonathan's voice rose, not in challenge, but in release. "We acknowledge you, but you hold no sway over us." The presence recoiled, its influence waning. Elihu and Jonathan, side by side, faced the unknown with the courage of their convictions. As calm returned, the house's oppressive hold seemed to diminish. They emerged from the cellar to the first light of dawn, the house behind them just a structure of wood and stone. "We've honored them, Uncle," Jonathan said, the weight of history lifting from his shoulders. Elihu, with a knowing smile, replied, Leaving the house to the morning light, they stepped into a new day. The legacy of the Harris family, no longer a tale of sorrow, but a story with an ending yet to be written. The shadows of the past receded, leaving room for hope and the unwritten future. Jonathan Harris walked on, the path ahead his own.